Now, I've been watching more plumbing videos on social media again. Maybe I should get out more. Anyway, seen loads more shenanigans going on. This time on the installation of douches. Now, if you don't know what a douche is, it's a special shower for washing your body instead of using toilet paper. I believe it's quite common in Asia and the Middle East. Anyway, I've got my World War II helmet to protect me from the fallout and the BS comments, because if my last video on the installation of a garden tap is out to go by, there's going to be plenty of them. Anyway, let's get on with it and find out exactly what did I find while watching these videos on social media. Now then, what videos were I actually watching? Well, basically, it was the installation of these douches in the UK. And pretty much every video I saw on social media, they were not installing these douches to the water regulations. Now, the water regulations changed in 1999 from the bylaws, and then since then, we've had to comply with them. Now, if you have had a douche fitted, and you have got a combi boiler and they have taken the feed for the douche off the combi boiler or off your wash basin or your bath, then you have broken the water regulations and you're open to a massive fine. So the reason you've broken the regulations is the shower head or the douche head has to go where your bottom is into the toilet. And a toilet is classed as a fluid category 5. That means it is a serious health hazard, basically because of your number 2s. So, if they haven't put protection against back siphonage into the douche, then you're open to prosecution because 1, you've broken the regulations, and 2, you could make yourself quite poorly as well. That's not breaking the regs though. But anyway, so if they have put double check valves onto the douche, thinking they are protecting you from fluid category 5, then that plumber who's installed it has got no clue whatsoever about the water regulations and fluid categories, because you cannot protect against fluid category 5 with check valves. Now, between fluid category 1 and 2, so wholesome drinking water and your hot water, you need a single check valve. Up to fluid category 3, which could be your wash basin water, your bath water, your central heating water, we can protect with double check valves. In 4 and 5, bear in mind 5 is a serious health hazard, we need to use air gaps. So, now you know you're breaking the law and you're open to a massive fine, let's actually get to the board in the workshop next door and find out exactly how you're breaking these regulations and how these douches should be installed anywhere in the UK. Let's get on with it then. Now, there are 2 ways of doing this, installing a douche in the UK, and this is the first one. Now, what I've got here is a thermostatic douche with hot and cold water running to it. This could just have cold water going to it, but in the UK, would you really want just cold water going up your body? Anyway, that's another story. So, first of all, you can see there is an orange circle around the toilet. So, if this hose is anywhere in this orange circle, it needs protection from back siphonage and technically back pressure as well. So, if it was installed over here and that hose couldn't get into the toilet, then 1, it wouldn't be a douche, would it? And 2, you wouldn't need to go through all this. So that's the first thing. Can that hose get in that toilet because if it does go in the toilet, it's fluid category 5. Now the air gap within a toilet is an AUK air gap 1. An AUK air gap 2 is in a wash basin, and an AUK3 air gap is in a kitchen sink. The easiest way of remembering those is, when you get up in the morning, what's the first thing you do? Well, probably go to the toilet. So that's an AUK air gap 1. Then what do you do after you've been to the toilet? You wash your hands in the wash basin. So that's an AUK air gap 2. And then when you go downstairs, what's the first thing you do? Well, if you're British, you put the kettle on and have a brew, don't you? So your kitchen sink is an AUK air gap 3. That's the easiest way of remembering it. Anyway, back to the douches. So you can see this douche is fed indirectly from a feed system, because you cannot install a douche on the direct cold in the UK. You might be able to do in Europe, you might be able to do in Asia, and you might be able to do in the Middle East. But in the UK, because we drink our water, you are not allowed to put a douche on your cold mains. Also, if we have a combi boiler like we've got here, we cannot install a douche on the combi boiler. So if we look at the installation here, you can see we have an indirect cold feed going into the douche. We have an indirect cold feed going to a water heater. So this could be something like, you know, those little Ariston under sink water heaters. So that's what that could be. Then we've got a single supply then going to the WC, and then we've got a single supply then going to the wash basin, because if you've got a douche, you cannot connect all these together on the same distribution pipe. They have to be separately fed like we've got here. So you can see the combi boiler is also feeding into the wash basin. Remember, wash basin, bath, shower tray, we protect from fluid category 3, but a WC we need to protect from fluid category 5. So we can't use check valves, we have to use air gaps. So, and the air gap in a feed system is an A or B air gap. So that's how you have to install a douche in the UK. Well, one of the ways. The other way is like this. So this is the second way of doing it. Now, even the water regs guide says this really isn't practicable to do. So let's have a look. So, what do we have to do then? What's so hard? So first of all, the water still come in from an indirect way of feeding the water. We're then coming into a thermostatic blender mixer. We've then got a single pipe then feeding the shower hose or the bidet, douche hose, whatever you want to call it. Now, what it says is we need to have an air gap. And the air gap has to be more than 300 mil above the height of where the hose can go. Now this air gap can be, as you can see here, a type AA air gap, AB, AD, or an AUK1 air gap. And it says with or without blended water in a system, or we can use a type DC backflow prevention device, which is one of these things. So that is really not a very good way of doing it, because it even says to give you the pressure in the water regs you might have to take this even higher, and the pipe can't go within this area also. So that's not a way you're going to do it, is it? Now my advice, if it's worth anything, is why are we bothering with douches when we have bidets with overspray units? We don't want an underspray one where it shoots water your bottom. You can't have that one, but we can have an overspray unit where it's fed via a tap, so you fill it up like you would do with a wash basin and you plonk your bottom in and give it a good scrub. So if you want to do that and not use toilet paper, that would be my advice for you to comply with the water regs. Get a bidet installed with an overspray, so a tap, rather than the underspray unit. Anyway, hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully you've liked the video, and I'll catch you on the next one. And don't forget, I have got my American World War II helmet to protect me from this avalanche of BS comments I'm sure I'm going to get. So don't hold back. Let me have it. Even though I've copied all this from the water regs.